smoke, man.
Track Jibba Jabba. Let me know if you guys like that one in the chat or in the comments below. Might have to go finish that one up. Well, what's up, guys? October 13th here. This is week 11, I believe, of the stream. Still going strong. If you're new to the stream, this is This is a live stream where I share my music production process. I open up my studio to you guys. I try to share all the tips, techniques, and ideas that I've picked up over the last 4 or 5 years producing music. I think that nowadays in the digital age, it's really easy for all of us to be cooped up at home, and there's not as much kind of going out there and meeting people as there used to be. And producers back in the day really had to learn from other producers, but nowadays there's not as much collaboration. So really my goal for this show is just to open up the studio to share the techniques with you guys. I don't believe in hoarding information. I believe in sharing. So hopefully I have something great to share with you guys, producing mostly tech and house music. But if you're into other dance music genres, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can take from this. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button on Twitch, or if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification so you get notified every time I upload videos. Okay, so just a couple things I want to talk about before we get into the stream. If you don't know yet, let's see here. You can go to YouTube for Juanton Music, see all the replays of the live stream. So if you miss one, no worries. We always have it here. At the end of the live stream, I always share, do a demo listening session for viewers of the stream. So if you have a demo that you want some feedback on, make sure to send it to Juan at wantonmusic.com and we'll get that up there for you guys. And let me see here. There we go. Juan at wantonmusic.com, and we'll listen to those at the end of the stream. You can always fast forward to those in the YouTube replays to listen to that feedback again. So it's very useful. Finally, if you have any finished tracks, you've been around the stream for a while, any tracks that you've put out, please send those to me. Again, Juan at wantonmusic.com. I want to start showcasing your guys' music here on the stream, get you guys more follows, get more ears listening to your music so that we can push this community out there into the world. All right. So make sure to send those finished tracks to me as well as those demos for the live stream. All right. So what are we going to be working on this week? If you've been following along, we have this track going. I call it Drop Top. That's a bit of a working title for now. But we did the vocal on it. We did all the synths. We built the whole track, the drums, the arrangement all the way through. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Now it's that tough time. It's that mix down. How do we squeeze every ounce of juice out of this mix? How do we get it up to the quality of the DJ's music that we're out there playing, so that we can play it confidently in the club, knowing that it's going to stand up to that mix? Much easier said than done, but I'm going to share with you guys the techniques that I have today to try to squeeze a little more out there. And it's really all focused about A/B testing. It's really about listening to your mix, listening to the mix that you're trying to reference for quality level, and seeing the discrepancies. And it's going to be hard early on as a producer. It's all about training your ear. Every time that you do this, you're training your ear better and better to pick up the subtle differences between your mix and another mix. And that's going to be the key to you being able to pinpoint what you need to work on in your mix to get it to that next level. So, yeah, let's just get into it, guys. Get Ableton going up here for you. We got Beehive Music in the house. What's up, Beehive Music? Go follow them. Been around here, the stream, since the beginning, and these guys are crushing it, making it great music. So go support. Let's see. Okay, so right away, let's talk about how we're gonna mix, or like what's our approach here. Because when we're A/Bing, do you just start at the beginning of the song over here and be like, okay, how does his intro sound to my intro? You can adjust all the levels and stuff there. That's great, but do all those changes you made to the mix translate later when more instruments come in? It's really easy to kind of mix the sparse part, and then you get to the full parts and the mix falls apart. So instead, we're going to mix in the meatiest part of the song. We're going to find the spot that's the most energetic part, got the most things going on. And typically this is one of your drops, and usually it's the second drop. It's like the big drop. Maybe you have multiple drops. It could be third or fourth. Also, if you have other styles of house that are long-winded, a little more long-winded, then you're gonna have much more build-ups and areas. So just pick the section of the song that has the most instrumentation, I guess, is the best way to describe that, and then we're gonna mix there. So just do a quick loop here. There's our reference. Listen to ours. All right, and now we're just going to work from here in this little section. We want to get this section sounding as tight as possible. It's got most of the elements. You can see here there's probably a couple percussion elements that come in later. We might have to mix in this section over here, as well as some vocals that we'll probably have to mix here in this section. But yeah, work from the meatiest part down to the least meaty part, which would be like your outro over here. Cool. Also, I'm starting to hear a little bit of distortion, I feel like, and it's probably that I'm going really hard into my limiter. And that's a good thing, because that means that the limiter's telling me an issue that my mastering engineer would run into if I submitted my mix right here. It just probably means that something's really hot. So let's just go take a peek over there. Pull up Pro L2 from FabFilter. Okay, so it's hitting on average like these big peaks. That's like 6.5 decibels of reduction from the limiter, because those peaks are coming so high. That's a little hot, but it's not awful. I think -4 to -6 is kind of where you want to be. If you're going a little over -6, that's probably okay. So then I think it must just be this little instrument. Let's see. Which instrument is it? Okay. So I have a feeling that that must be because we're not sidechaining it. So when it's hitting with the kick, I think that that's creating a bigger peak. Kick by itself. Yep. Synth by itself. As soon as you put them together. There you go. Now I know what the problem is, and it's a lot easier to fix that. Real simple thing to do here. I'm just going to unfreeze this really quick. I'm just going to go get Kickstart from Nicky Romero. Now this is kind of like a lead synth, so I'm a little worried that Nicky Romero might be a little too rough around the edges for it, but we're going to try it, see if it sounds good, and if it's taken away a little bit too much attack from the synth or something like that, then maybe I'll try to do a more precise style of sidechain. But this is really cut and dry, easiest way. Just turn my knob down and then pick a shape. And probably need a little side chain on a bunch of things here. See, that's kind of the issue that I thought we were going to have, is that you can hear the pumping on like the main part of that synth, and it starts to disappear in the mix. I don't want that. So I'm just going to get rid of kickstart. And I'm actually going to use LFO tool. Actually, I have a rack, I think. If I type LFO. We'll go to audio effects, LFO analysis, bass sidechain LFO tool. Having all these little racks is super helpful, guys. It's really about, it's really about workflow and having a workflow process that helps you make tracks before you're sick and tired of making that track. And just having these little tools ready in your library really goes a long way. We got Dummy Splash in the house. Dummy Splash, check them out. Hopefully you hear some demos from Dummy Splash later today. This guy's got a gang of music, so I know he has one to send me. Let's see. Okay, so now what are we looking at here? So this little, I'm going to turn off this compressor first. This little tool that I have set up is basically two LFO tools. The first one is to help you get out of the way of the transient. The second one is to allow you to shape how it comes back from being compressed. I'll usually use this on my bass, so this might be a little overkill. I'm probably just going to use one LFO tool for now and then see if I need this one or not. But the idea is that I want to get out of the way. So, right, this is the volume. Picture the volume of my LFO being off and then turning on, slowly rising, and then by this point I'm at full volume. Well, I just want to duck the kick transient so that this doesn't peak with the kick without getting rid of the rest of the sound. And you can see, because I have the waveform here turned on, you can see where the waveform is. Still got a lot of other things fighting for space too, but I'm going to solo just the kick, the synth one more time. It might just be that I have a little too much low end here as well, because the low end takes up a lot of room. It takes more headroom from your mix than anything else. That's why you can only have like a little bit of kick and a little bit of sub down there, and everything else has to be out of the way, because both of those are going to add so much to your headroom, which means it's going to increase the level of your limiter. So if you have a bunch of low end on this instrument right here, you're not going to hear it because the kick is, occupying that and taking that space ahead of it, but it's still going to be there producing a bunch of energy for the speaker to have to move, and it's going to really hit that limiter harder than it needs to. So see how much I could take out. There's also kind of like a sibilance or something up here that's bothering my ear. To listen to it, I'm going to turn this little highlight mode. It allows you to kind of pinpoint what you're hitting with this filter. I think it's somewhere over here. Okay, I think that doesn't sound too bad. Over here too, I have this other compressor, and what I usually do with this is actually use like the kick sidechain kick click track there. So the kick is going to engage this compressor, but I don't want it to do too much. I just want it to be really light. So then you can just drop the threshold. Okay, so something else has to be causing that. Oh, you know what? Let me. Oh, Rolling Cloud. Sometimes these cloud plugins stop working here because they'll lose their connection. So then you have to log in to Splice just to use a plugin. The future, man. Okay. Rolling Cloud's actually the worst. And what's annoying is that because they can't connect to their whatever service to make sure that you paid for it, they start deteriorating your dang plugins. So then the quality of your mix just goes to hell, and you're like, what the heck's causing this? Oh, you mean I just need to log in to Rolling Cloud? Thanks. Cool. And I'm really worried about it on Fab Filter. Okay. So we're not getting too bad with this. And I'm going to start just adding kind of like 1 or 2 instruments at a time to see what starts creating peaks. And you want to start with like the most important elements and then work out to kind of like the least important elements, like your effects, like risers and stuff. So first one would be kick, bass, clap, then open hat, and then from there maybe vocals or synths. So that's pretty common for the clap and the kick to get a little spike there. So I'm not too worried about -3. We might be able to work on that a little bit though. So I'm going to see, let's just compare our clap to our reference. So our reference here. Oops. Okay, when I reference against my master, I actually want to have LFO tool open here. This is on my master channel, so it's going to show the waveform of our 2 tracks here. turn on my low filter. Just listen to the kick and the bass. And my track. Now you can line up I'm going to line the kick up right here, and the way that you do that is you take the phase knob on LFO tool. It's also right here, phase. I just have it mapped to this macro, and just turn it, and you'll see that the waveform moves. So just turn it till your kick is right there, just like that. Makes it a little easier to see. So now when I take my reference, I'm looking at the downbeat. Okay, now back to just having kick, bass, clap. Getting a little hole. It's like not picking it up as well for some reason. There's my clap. If I do this over a longer period of time. Okay, so we get a good idea here. I'm pretty sure this is the clap right here, this big one. And then let's check against our track. So same one. So now what I'll do is with the snap at 16, which is as high as it goes, I just use these little units to help kind of line up what I'm looking at. So it's like 2 from the top here from mine, then his. He definitely has that kick transient going even higher. So then what I'd like to do is maybe see if I can get my clap a little chunkier without increasing the peaks. And the way we'd want to do that is kind of like just compression, really. Compressing it so that you're bringing the quieter parts of the clap up while reducing the peaks from going past a certain point. So I'm going to go look at my clap channel here. And I'm actually just going to listen really quick between the reference and my track, the clap. Really focusing on the clap and where his is in the mix versus mine. So it's definitely quieter. Part of that might be that I can even bring up the clap volume. I don't think I have any automation. Let me just close this to make sure. Yeah, definitely not. Let's turn this up a bit. Yeah, his is a little chunkier. So let's see what we can do. We just have this clap track. We have this little clap reverse. Just the empty drum rack. That's from when we made our drums. So, okay, don't need that. Snare roll. Clap reverb. All right, so I think I'm going to try to add before I try adding the layer, I'm just going to see if I can get it out of the clap because I'm really not doing anything with the clap here yet. Now I'm just going to go straight to saturation, get my saturator. I'm going to get Synoxis Free G Stereo. It's just a handy little meter there. And that's probably good. So what I'll do with the saturator is I'm going to turn it off first. I'm going to turn on Synoxis, listen to my clap. Peaking at minus 0.09. That's going to make this easy. So I'm going to turn on my saturator. I'm going to take the output and I'm going to set it to what this is. So minus 0.09. I'm just going to put minus 0.01 or 0.1. And now what I'll do is pick just one of these. You just kind of cycle through these curves. Obviously, they're soft. Medium's harder than soft. Hard is harder. You can listen to them. You're going to have to turn the drive up a little bit to listen to what they do. That's really loud. Now what we want to do is actually keep it. I like analog clip. Wave shaper is also nice. But we want to drive this into the output of this. I think we need soft clip on, and it should keep the peak around the output, what we set. So if you pay attention to the peaks, they're not going up. They have not passed 0.11, but it was getting louder. I'm sure you can hear that it's getting louder. That's saturation. That's what it's doing. And when we set it up like this, when we figure out what the output is and we put it in as the output in Ableton, it allows us just to use the drive to decide how saturated we want it. And now we know that the sound that we're producing with saturation is actually more or less pleasing because it's already being gain matched. So probably don't need that much. Let's see. In the mix. And there you go. I think that gets us a lot closer there. And turn that off. Cool. So then you can just turn off Synoxis. You don't need it anymore. Saturation did most of the job. I'm going to hold Option and just copy this EQ to the other side of the saturator. Just to make sure it's not introducing any low end frequencies, because that's all it is just a cut, low cut, maybe like 240. Okay. And I'm just going to check with our LFO tool. Yeah, looking pretty good, I think. See if there's something else here that I'm not liking. Serum. get to the bottom of it. So now I'm really trying to pinpoint. I'm happy with that clap. I'm gonna try to pinpoint kind of my ears, where the tops are sitting in my track versus his track. So when I say tops, I mean everything except the main hat. So I typically put the hat in its own group. That's just the big bad boy on the block. But all these other guys are supporting. And better yet, like this is a really good time to see if I can get some width and some left and right movement in my tops with these guys, because the clap and the open hat are going to be big and in the middle. They probably have a decent side presence. But these guys, they can really be spaced out more around, especially tops. You can really go like far with the panning, 20, 30 to the left or to the right. So let's just listen, try to focus in on that section. I'm actually going to move this to the section with the vocal. There's some more tops over here. Yeah, they're a little more dynamic and they're standing out on the side. So let me see what we have here working. That's a fast hat, tambourine, and then big ride. Now the big ride, I'm going to just start taking out some space in the bottom. The rides are really a big, yeah, see that? The cymbal. So it does produce a lot of low frequency we really don't need. Even now I've already cut a bunch and you can't even hear it. I'm not even afraid to take a lot of this out. And you really want to do it in the mix once you start fine tuning kind of where it is. But you can really take away a lot here, and all that is going to be less work for the speaker to accomplish. Less work means more headroom for everything else. It's not very wide. I'm going to see if I can make this a little wider. I think S1 Imager works sometimes from Waves. It's kind of easy one. Try the Ozone Imager. Don't really like that style. The Ozone Imager is cool because it allows you to do different bands. So like, I really just want to increase. See stereo eyes. Oh, I got to create a movie here. Control low end. Spacious high end. Honestly, just go with the preset. Okay, am I tripping or is this? There we go, some stereo. So it's adding a little output, so I want to make sure that I match it. Luckily, they show you the input output, so. There we go. Now, it's important to notice, pay attention to how when I turn this on, it actually gets a little quieter, even though our meter says that it's not getting quieter. But the reason why is because when you're moving things to the side, you're really just losing mono information. And the mono signal is where things are going to sound the loudest. So if you have like a really wide clap, it's not going to sit in the mix well because it's not going to collapse down to mono well. But, you know, for a ride, I don't necessarily need this to have the best mono information because it's not the most important element in the mix at this time. It's more of a supporting element in the high end. So I can go a little wider with it. Now, I have Shift M set to turn on a little mono utility on my master here. And it turns the gain down -6. So I cycle through back and forth to mono a lot. And right here, especially is when you want to do it, because you want to see how does this affect the mix when it goes to mono. So with ozone, without. So it's a little quieter in mono. And then in the mix. Yeah, so I want to go a little less wide on it because it's getting a little too far out there. So I'm liking it not wide on the ride. So maybe we go wide on the tambourine. Or better yet, what if we just pan the tambourine? Okay, this guy specifically, I want to give him a little saturation because it feels like he's kind of dying into the mix. I did set the mix frame last week, so I think that everything else is a little bit quieter. So you might have seen me just notching up all these faders just a tiny bit there. Trying to bring them out in the mix. So just a little saturation here. Same trick we did earlier. Saturator. Synopsis. Synopsis. I don't even know how to say that right. I assume that I'm getting it there. Synopsis. Free G stereo. It's free. So if you guys want to use this guy, I just like that I can keep it open when I'm not on the same track, as I'm working on other tracks and other plugins. See how I'm affecting it. So here, remember, turn off the saturator. When you have a lot of different things like this, it's going to change a lot. So make sure that when you're comparing the volume, you're comparing against the same thing. So like here, stays at minus 2.4 for that first half. But I think over here, it peaks up. No, minus 2.4. Cool. So minus 2.4 is probably like this little peak here. Yeah. Minus 0.69. So just do that little loop here. Okay. Minus 0.59. Turn this on. Minus 0.6. And now we can just pick wave shaper, analog clip, soft sine, whatever. See, analog clip. Soft clip needs to be on. There we go. Just get it to pop out of that mix a little bit more. And see, what's nice is I haven't even been taking out all the low end on all these tracks like I sometimes do. So it's easy to just come in here and free up a little bit of space there. Just gonna copy and paste this onto my hat. I think he could use a little bit of saturation. Make sure I put them before my LFO tool. Of course, I need to make sure I use the right track stuff. So use the right output. Okay, now this is what's cool. So this is peaking at 0.34. So that tells me that this hat is actually a little hot on here, and that's okay because I actually have it turned down minus 3.5 here anyway. But what we can actually do if we run into that case where something's kind of as loud as it can be without hitting the peaks, the saturator works to our advantage. So maybe I don't want it to be 0.59. I can do minus 0.5. And now it's the same thing. Now it's going to be quieter. Minus 0.54 there. And we'll just get the drive and use the drive to get it to where our ear picks it up. I mean, I think that's getting there. my ears are probably getting a little tired, so I don't want to do too much heavy mixing there, heavy-handed moves. But I feel like I'm really starting to match the energy there. And most of that does come from the drums. So the drums are a great place to start when you're mixing. Really, all that I hear left to do is maybe add a little saturation around the percussion tracks. So they kind of pop out of the mix a little tighter. What's cool with saturation is you can actually use it to make room in the mix. So if you have a sound that's like sounding like it's good, where it is in terms of volume, you can use saturation to increase the perceived loudness and then bring the volume back down on it, the delay, the gain, excuse me, until that starts to match the same sound it was before. So it's important to A/B when you're doing it. But in doing so, you can reduce the peaks of a sound while maintaining the perceived loudness in the mix. And that's a really important trick because that's going to free up space for your kick to go a little bit harder without engaging the limiter too hard. So I'm going to just keep copying this saturation all the way through to my percussion. Let me see. Hat. Tambourine sounded good. It's pretty loud tambourine. Gonna put on this perk track. Oh, look, I already have one on the perk track. Cool. All right, so you know the drill. And you can just square off the numbers. You don't have to be exact to the 100th. I mean, I could even do -3 there. It's not the end of the world. Okay, zero this out and okay, so we got to try to find that with our ear in the mix and then increase saturation till we like where it's at. I'm going to try something really quick with this. So there's a plugin by Soundtoys. Forget what it's called, but let's go see. VST, Soundtoys, Panman. So Panman is like the equivalent to Ableton's AutoPan, but it has some pretty cool algorithms, and I'm pretty sure that you might run into some issues with Ableton's AutoPan in terms of your stereo to mono compatibility, but I think that Soundtoys is a little better about protecting the mono signal so that things aren't crazy. Dynamic left to right. So let's see. What's cool is it'll move, let's see, to different rhythms. So that adds a little movement just on the left side. Let's see what it does to the mono signal just in case. Without it. Some of the hits lose a little bit of attack, I feel like, but it could be a worthy trade-off. Let's listen to it in the mix with and without Panman. So with it. See, it sounds so much worse once it's in there. Rhythmic pans. Yeah, not really getting anything there. That's okay. Doesn't hurt sometimes to just experiment. Yeah, that just makes me realize that the mono signal is probably the way to go. I want to keep this guy mono, keep him in the mix. It's a really important element to the groove. So we'll go -1 on this guy, and then so that's just this element here. So just turn on a little bit of that reverb there for those guys. See if that helps the mix. Okay, now this perk track, gonna add saturation until it pops out of the mix one more. That's all. That's it. So it's popping out there. Just a tiny bit of saturation on all these things, put together over time is gonna just add on the mix just a little bit. Okay, I'm happy there. Let's see. Turn my Vox and my synths back on, and let's just listen. Starting somewhere in the break. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm digging that. Got the perks done, got the tops done. I think the next thing would be really to dig into the vocals, try to push that a little bit more. But I'll have to come up with a better plan of attack. I don't want to do too much saturation on the vocals because I already have them going into CLA vocals, so they already have a bit of saturation. Um, so really with the vocals, because they're in the front, I'm actually going to take a slightly different approach, and that's going to be to try to kind of carve their space out of things that maybe are in their way. Um, but kind of want to keep it short tonight, guys. So I think I'm going to head into demos next. So this will be next week when we'll finish this up, get the vocal stuff done, and then just look at how we can squeeze a little more, maybe squeeze a little more out of our synths. We'll see. With the synths and the vocals, there's really not always a lot to do, because I try when I'm making those to kind of do all the processing that's necessary. So the rest is just making them vibe, with the rest of the mix. So first things first, I probably got to get the levels dialed down, because with the mix frame up where it is now, everything's a little quieter. All the while I'm doing that, I'm going to be making sure that I keep looking at my limiter and make sure that I'm not just really pummeling into my limiter, because if I if I increase the volume on one thing and then it starts hitting my limiter, that'll tell me in that moment that maybe I need to take a different approach. So may or may not do that on the stream. I might do that over the week and just show you the results of that, because it's just going to be a lot of A/B leveling. And besides that, the track's going to be done, guys. So I think I'm going to try to save the last bit of mixing stuff on the vocal synths till next week. And then I'm also going to show you just how I get it ready to go play it in a club. For those of you who DJ, you get to try it out in the club. I really, really recommend it. That's going to be the most important first hurdle of your career, is just going from, I'm a DJ that plays, other people's tracks, to, oh, hey, now I can use this as a platform to test my own tracks, to make great productions, and eventually play sets that have a lot of my originals. That's, if you're not there yet, that's where you should be trying to go. So don't be afraid to play those demos, out loud. I promise you, they're not always going to go off as well as you want, but they're going to give you a lot of valuable information. So I'm going to show you how we can make sure that our track is at least loud enough to play in a club next week, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right, so let's dive into some demos. We got one from Dummy Splash. Bring this up for you guys. Oh, they want me to register to vote. Already registered. Don't forget to vote. Really quick, let's go to the chat. Beehive says, what I've learned so far is that I do not use enough saturation. Yeah, man, use saturation. It's like one of the most basic tools. Saturation is best used on single tracks instead of like on your arrangement as a whole, because of the way the saturation works. Don't remember all the science, but I know that I watched a video once upon a time on YouTube, and they talk about like the scientific reasoning behind why you want to saturate signals that are as simple as possible. So if you're trying to do like a whole track, that's not a simple saturation algorithm, and it's just going to have bad results. So saturation on single tracks, and use it on everything. A little bit of saturation on everything is going to add up to what sounds like a very nice full mix. Yeah, gonna have to rewatch this one over again. Don't worry, we got them on YouTube in a playlist. Boy, got you. All right, we got Zarmilla Bay Love remix from Dummy Splash. Let's see how it goes.
club. Going out tonight, show me some love. I'll put the handy on the bad guy. We'll put the buckets in the street, so we can make it past the bridge tonight. No, they can do it like the daylight, like that. No, they can do it like the daylight, like that. You see this round up on my face, like just like that, just like that.
Okay, Dummy Splash. Got that Bay Love remix. All right, man. All right, not too bad. Dope track as always. The Dummy vibes are popping. The intro felt really awkward to me. There was something happened, kind of like the way you brought in the vocal felt awkward, and just the timing on the vocal felt a little weird just in that first intro, like the build. But then the drop comes in, and I love what you did there, dude. The like synths and delayed effects that you got going on all throughout it are super dope. I love that it's deep, but it's like there's this dark griminess behind it. Let's see here. Yeah, dude, sick vibes, digging that. And the filter thing's kind of like over here. Let's see. Maybe it's on more than just the vocal. I can tell there's like a filter opening up right here. And I just feel like it's a good effect. Maybe just do it over a longer period. Like maybe even try it over 16 bars. Like let it just really open slowly over time. This is a really laid back track with like a dark vibe. So just kind of start building up that vibe. It's just a vibe. You're just building it up for all your little dancers here, and then there's this little turnaround at the drop. Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. But it feels really awkward right there, and the timing feels off, especially like right over here. Right here, this section specifically. And I assume you're just trying to warp it. It's probably not close to the BPM that you're working in, so it's kind of tough. But yeah, spend some time there trying to get those warps right. Not gonna lie, it can be a bit of a pain sometimes to get that warping right, man. I feel your pain. But that's where I think it needs a little work. It's the biggest thing that pops out to my ear. Otherwise, really dope, man. The only other thing I'd have to say is just add some top end. Find some way to add some top end to your bass, because this part's so sick. Is this second drop? Okay. Yeah, right there. Like your bass is like, whoa, 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 whoa. But it just seems like quiet. So either the bass volume just needs to come up. You might be able to just turn it up, or you need to add some top end up there to really help the sound like of the bass peak out of the mix, because it's sick, man. I see what you're doing there. You got some really dope effects I wouldn't even think of using on the bass, but my ears are just trying harder to pick it up. And I think it could really just be the most important part of your mix. So that's all I got for you. But otherwise, dude, super dope. I just love the way your tracks can switch their vibe. How many times can I say vibe in this last 3 minutes? All right. Yeah, working on the level still, dude. Honestly, I heard Steve Duda say one time, he this is like early when I was learning, and he said in some live stream that I was watching him on, that most of his students, he felt like he could make a better mix than most of them with just his levels. And at the time, like, I was like, okay, that's cool. I got to really focus on my levels. But it wasn't until later when somebody really like was sitting down working with me that I realized, like, man, I have not been turning up the sounds at all. I just, for some reason, thought they had to be quiet because I was trying to protect my headroom or something. A bunch of dumb thoughts that I had about mastering, that were incorrect. But yeah, it really boiled down to, oh man, if I just turn up all these tracks a lot more, everything ends up sounding a lot crisper and works well together. And yeah, man, focus on those levels. Don't be afraid to turn them up. Just have that limiter on there, and then if that limiter's peaking like crazy, that'll tell you if it's actually too hot or not. Cool. So that's Armila Belove remix from Dummy Splash. We have any more demos? Let's go take a peek. No demos. It's all right, guys. Give me some demos. You're missing out on feedback. I'm bad myself. I usually only need feedback like once every 2 weeks or so. Tough to get these tracks in. Dummy Splash got another one. Yeah, man, we'd listen to one more. You send me one more. And then we'll probably call it a day. Give him a minute to get it to us.
I like that.
No rush, man. Actually, I got this one. Why don't you save that one for next week? I was gonna play your track Jello on the outro of our track. So how about that? Gonna support the man, Dummy Splash. He's been showing up. Let's see if I can bring it up for you guys. This track Jello is a dope one. Put it out himself, I believe. So I'm just gonna play this one out. That'll be the outro. And we got another hot one from Dummy Splash to listen to next week as well. So, couple more reminders before we're done, guys. Every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be here. Juanton's going to be live streaming my production, Tech House production, baby, for the near future at least. We do demo feedbacks, as you just saw, for all the homies. So make sure to send me those tracks. And until next time, guys, stay curious, stay hungry, keep producing, be the best person you can. I'll see you guys next week. We got Dummy Splash, Jello to finish it out for us, guys. See you next week.
Don't be fooled by the rocks. Don't be fooled by the rocks. Still beat, on beat, on beat.